A fine morning, damp and fresh and clean, with the sky new made pale after long days of bitter heat. The wound of the sun's rising fast faded, the stars fled even in the furthest west. Wind stirs the aspen leaves, and they sing and shiver. The cobwebs spread like hair, rain wet and jewel bedecked. A magpie chatters in anger. The hedgerows smell musk rank. A fine morning, yes, and pleasant to walk out in to bathe in the newness, to bring the cows in from the meadow for milking. 3 crows called as Kanda made her way down the hillside. 3 crows called from the left over towards Mal Anwen, whose peak was black with pine trees and grey with cloud mist. A pigeon cooed in answer from the right over towards Mal Eren, whose peak was gold with gorse flowers and bright with a single shaft of white sun. The lush wet grass was delicious beneath Kanda's bare feet. The cows, 3 of them, one brown, one black, one, the best and most treasured, roan with black horns, were down in the river meadow in the valley bottom, where the grass was so good the milk they gave was almost pure cream. How good the milk was! If she went away from the farm for even a few days to visit Delet's sister who lived in Aranth by the headman's hall, Kanda missed and longed for the taste of her own cow's milk. She had to scramble where the hillside fell away steeply, her feet rushing to get ahead of her. 2 sheep leapt up startled from their sleep behind a hawthorn, barred at her as they shambled away, waggling their hind legs. Another crow rose up from the grass, and the sheep barred at it. The steep bit here was thickly planted with hawthorns, very old and twisted. Planted, surely. They were too regularly spaced, too neat and too few and too many all at once, to have grown up here naturally. In early summer, Kanda could sit for hours at the top of the hill looking down at them white against the green hillside. In autumn, she could sit for hours looking down at them blazing berry red. The river lay below them as a dark shining pattern of skin smoothness and rush green. She could hear the cows now lowing, the 2 that needed milking and the roan that had been allowed to keep its calf. She called, "Kai, kai, kai!" The crows and the pigeon and the sheep answered her. The river answered her, singing. Just where the hillside flattened abruptly to the water meadow and the river, she passed the remains of a building. Small, much smaller than a house, a round circle of dry stone walling waist high with an entranceway facing the river, the stones warm, beautiful, smooth, where the cattle like to rub their chins against them. Too narrow to have been made big enough to stand up in, unless it was a house for a child. A bee skep it would have looked like when it was standing. Kanda broke off a sunweed flower, placed in the centre of the ruin as she walked past. 5 flowers there already, 1 fresh, the rest slowly fading. "Warm sun and cool rain and good earth," Kanda said, "and 3 healthy children. My thanks to you." In this place a man was buried, 100 years ago or 1,000. He had lived all his life in the valley of the Wennet, or had lived far off, or homeless, or loved to wander, had happened to be passing through the valley where he died. Someone had buried him here, taken care to raise a cairn over him in this beautiful place, so his bones lay at peace here, giving the land his blessing. One of the cows lowed, and she said, "Yes, yes, Kai, not to forget you. My Kai, they also give thanks to you. Poppy most especially gives thanks to you for her fine son," she said, laughing as the cow rode again. She reached the river, stood on the bank looking down at the water. Shallow, the water barely ran to her knees while she paddled in it. The bed was reddish stones. Tiny fish darted away in panic at her shadow, just as the sheep had run from her slithering down the grass. "Sorry of fish," she said. In the deeper places there were trout. On the other side of the river the bank was heavily wooded, rising steeply to the wild high hills that ran away south, almost to the headman's hall of Aranth, 2 hours' walk away.